Okay, so hello and welcome to Oren. So we are on another series of Empower Your Health Naturally. And today we have with us Oren, who is an expert on harmonious relationships, emotional and sexual mastery. So today we are going to be asking him all about his shamanic sexuality that he teaches, his emotional wisdom, and he also runs an awesome course called Quantum Being. It is all about understanding our emotions as waves of energy and how we can use our emotions to transform our lives rather than be a block for us. So this is a really important aspect of health, emotional health. We don't talk about it very much, but this is a holistic summit. We're all about looking at how we can improve the different aspects of our lives. And I was so excited to invite Ron because I know he has run workshops all over the world, and he is really like teaching something that the world needs to know about. Okay, so welcome, Ron. How are you doing?
That's so great to be here, and thank you for inviting me. And for you that are listening now, thanks for taking your time and your attention. And I hope I can share with you some really cool things that will be practical for your life and really can transform our world, I believe. So really happy to be here, and it's really simple and so beautiful.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome that you're here. And Ron is actually in Brazil. So he is probably our most exotic speaker on the summit. So, so we're praying for like the internet connection throughout this video, but it's all good. So I want to just start by asking you to give like a 2-minute version of your life and how you came into doing this kind of work.
My life in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was born in Israel. I was born in Israel. Now I live in Brazil. Throughout my life, I actually was born in a kibbutz. It's a community of 300 people. And there is already where I started observing and practicing relationships, because in relationship you have to develop abilities, skills, and technologies to reach consensus, to share, to listen to various opinions and reach a conclusion. So that was already the beginning of my training. Then I trained most of my life as a professional dancer, ballet and contemporary dance. And at certain point in my early 20s, I just felt like I live in a bubble. I want to go out to the world and just explore. So my university was travels. And I traveled and worked in Europe, from a career of successful solo dancer in the best companies in Europe. I ended up washing dishes in bars in Zurich, and I was happiest I ever been. Like, yes, just been an adventure. And I went traveling in Africa. And during these travels, I realized that I want to create better impact in the world, and that I'm taking responsibility for the effects that I create around me in the way that I choose to consume, the things I choose to eat, the thoughts that I have in my mind, the emotions that I project around me. And I started a whole path of studying and then sharing and teaching sustainability and permaculture, and then adding to that sustainability, integral sustainability, which is sustainability of my thoughts and mind and actions and habits, and sustainability of my relationship, emotions. And I shift into a work as a therapist for many years in Israel, Russia, Europe, United States. And in the last 10 years, I'm teaching all over the world and sharing with people with various disciplines. And the most passion I have nowadays is the quantum being, which is emotional mastery and wisdom, and shamanic sexuality practices, which I will share with you soon. Resumed. I'm also important to say I am father for 3, which are my 3 masters. I'm divorced with mother of my first child, which is also a big, challenging master in my life. I'm really grateful for most of my teachings I've learned on the hard way there. And I'm now 8 years happily married in an open relationship with my current wife, Raquel, and our 2 children. And it's been an amazing journey. We are teaching together, we're sharing in the world together. And this is really one of the most amazing things in my life. And I would like also to share with you about why relationships are really important for your health.
Okay. I probably definitely need to learn something about that. And I'm guessing that most of our audience also is going to benefit from that. I want to start by asking, just for those who maybe haven't even thought about emotional health before, why is it so important?
It's really important because almost everything that you choose to do is based on an emotional reaction, right? So we see it all over in advertisement. There's numerous articles about it, how to emotionally manipulate people to do what you want them to do or to buy what you want them to buy. So think about it, for example, most of the negative actions that I perceive in the world, such as violence and depression and corruption, why would a person want to steal $1 million or $1 billion? Why would the people do that if they don't have inside them a huge lack of self-esteem, of love, of security, and they are trying to acquire something from the outside to fill up a hole that they have from the inside, and that never works. We know that you can never get from the outside what you don't have inside. And so I grew up in a place of conflict in Israel. Yeah. And people ask me, what's going on in Israel? What is all this war between Israel and Palestine? And I used to tell about the whole history of the colonialism and the British people and how they left a big mess behind them. But nowadays I just say, look, there are really good people everywhere. I really believe all people are good, but not all the actions are good. And why people have negative actions is because they don't know how to deal with their pain, with their fear, and with their anger. And why people go and give their vote for absurd politicians, for example, because this politician says, I will bring peace and I will make order in this place and I know all the answers. And then people think, oh, thanks God, I will not have to deal with my fear and uncertainty because somebody else will take care of that. And then we give our power to others. And in our more daily life with our children, how many times are we tyrannizing and abusing our children just by the fact that we abuse our power and are not able to contain their emotions and ours? How many relationships break up because we just don't know how to deal with our own emotions and we project it on the other? And when I feel jealousy, I think that the other should change or be less or shine less so I will feel more safe. And my emotions are mine. I need to take responsibility for that and just acknowledge that if I feel jealousy, just an example, or if I feel anger, it's not the fault of the other. Because, and we'll go more into that in our conversation about emotions, but just to resume it, I really strongly believe that most of the suffering in the world is because the lack of emotional wisdom and because of emotional reactivity that we actually hurt ourselves, hurt others, break our relationship, and also destroy our planet. This is why I think one of the big pieces that is missing in the evolution of humanity, in our consciousness, in our thoughts, in our physicality, is the emotional part. And not that it is more important than others, it's just more forgotten than others. Yes. So I want to bring it in.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And sorry.
Does that make sense for you, Kat?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, So, I mean, I really am a very strong believer in that if we want peace in the world, we have to start with ourselves. And, you know, I do a lot of self-study and meditation. And I actually just came out, as you know, of a very big relationship where I recognize that I behaved in certain ways, and I have a huge amount of regret about the ways that I didn't actually handle myself
Yeah,
probably in that relationship. But I know that every challenge that we receive in life, we get to learn from, and I'm working on just getting into that like gratitude now of okay, but I really learned that, you know, I have a responsibility if I'm going to go into another relationship now, that I recognize like I can be more responsible with those things. And I would definitely love to do more of your work as well. So we can talk about that at the end,
right,
maybe a little bit how we get to follow on with the work you do.
right.
Um,
You know, one more piece that I feel, Kat, is very important is also to just mention. We talked a bit about reactivity. You know, how many times I react to my emotions, but I really, other side of the same coin is the suffering that people have from suppressing their emotions, living in a corporate world and needing all the time to perform and be nice and full energy and productive, and inside it's like, I just had a fight with my wife. I'm totally like depressive and sad here, or concerned, or I just, you know, I mean, I'm premenstruation now. I just want to kill everybody, but I need to, you know, just breathe deeply and control. And this is like a pressure pot that, you know, it starts to evaporate, and you just like put your finger on it and tell it, you know, stop steaming, you know, just be quiet. And then what happens eventually is that it becomes a physical disease and pain, or it explodes
or
where it is safe to explode. And where is it safe? With your intimate relationship. So you
right.
end up hurting the people you most love. So just to add that part, because so many people in corporate world and so many men, you know,
Yeah.
men don't tend to look on their emotions. They're like, well, emotions, that's not for me. You know, you have a workshop about sexuality, I'll go, but emotions, like, that's for women. And we are not even aware how much we suffer.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just to
And
bring that big,
yeah, it's either going to come out in our relationship, or there's burnout, you know, people burn out. Like I personally can relate to what you're talking about, because I spent 9 years, no, sorry, 11 years working in the fashion industry with quite high level jobs. And I remember like frequently going into the toilet to cry because no one could see me cry, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, you know, it was just such a huge amount of pressure. So um like I wonder if we can now learn as a species to how to be more vulnerable and real, yet still hold our space, and because there's a power in vulnerability, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And as a man, Israeli man that served in the military, I always been educated that vulnerability is weakness.
Mm.
Don't show it.
Mm.
And I spend so much of my energy just covering up my authentic being that is alive, that is sensitive, and is a great power. And when I found it, like in negotiations and in relationship, how many times do I like enter in some, you know, conflicting kind of competition energy of I want and I want and below that I'm just afraid that you'll, you know, betray me,
Right.
or you'll use me, or
Right.
humiliate me. And because of that fear, I start, you know, struggling with you energetically in our conversation. And whenever I just perceive that I am in that state, and I take a deep breath and I just say, you know, actually my deepest fear is that you'll fuck me up. you know. No, I'm here with you. I have this fear. So I want to do 100 pages contract just to make sure you won't fuck me up. And simply saying that the other is probably in exactly the same spot.
Right.
Or has a different vulnerability, but it's like, wow, you know, I have the same fear. Or, okay, so let's just simplify it to 1-page contract where we just have an agreement based on integrity. And that is just one example of how many times I'm teaching a workshop or a retreat, and I try to show that I am the greatest teacher, and everybody are just like disempowered because they think, wow, he's such amazing, and I will never be where he is. And whenever I just say, guys, I'm here in front of you, I did this workshop already 1,000 times, and I'm shaking here with excitement, and I hope you'd love me, and I really need you, and I really want us to become friends and be intimate. And this vulnerability and fear doesn't stop me from performing here, you know. I'm doing my job great, but I don't waste my energy covering up what actually goes on inside of me. So vulnerability, and so many times, you know, I have a fight with my wife, and I'm just saying, you should never do that, and I hate how you do it, and don't talk to me like that. And she gets all closed up and reactive to this. And whenever I perceive that, I just say, I'm really terrified here that you'll find somebody better and will leave me. And it opens her heart so quickly and dissolves all these tensions that we could waste a lot of energy on. And yeah, so there's numerous places in negotiation, in relationship with my children, where simply showing my vulnerability is a big power. It opens the heart, it creates intimacy, and helps just flow into our relationship in a much more lubricated way, a much more flowing way. And then there's much more to talk about vulnerability. It's a whole research of itself.
I just wanted to touch on it, and thank you for illustrating it so well. And we don't have a lot of time, but I would love if you could, do you think you could share some kind of technique with us that's just like a little taster of the kind of work you do? It can be around the emotional or whatever you think is good.
Sure, with pleasure. There's so many practices I would like to share with you. Let's focus on when we practice communication and relationships. And this summit is all about health. So I just want to also mention how there's a great mentor of us that says many times, environment is stronger than willpower, right? So when you really put in your focus to have healthy relationships with your partners in work, with your workers, with your team, with your intimate partner, and with yourself, you create a healthy environment. So starting to see that the health of my relationship is a really, really strong factor of my personal health. That's really important. And when we talk about that, we need to understand what are the tools that really create healthy relationships. So one of them is mastery of your emotions. When we've talked about it, you cannot have healthy relationship if you are not taking responsibility for your own emotions, and all parts involved are taking self-responsibility for their emotions. Because relationship has intimacy, and when you have intimacy, you will have friction. Okay, guys, sorry to break this news for you, but when you have intimacy in your life, you will have friction. And if you want to be happy in your life, I strongly believe and experience in myself and thousands of my students that intimacy brings happiness. Okay, so we all want to just be connected to the source of life and connected to other people, which are the source of life, right? So we need to master our emotions, and we need to master our communication. So I want to bring you a little practice about that, which is really beautiful, and that is the difference between demanding and sharing my needs.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So here's what I invite you to do. Really do it right now, and take a piece of paper if you need, or anything you can write on, and you can even do that with your partner. Okay, so you can take this bit of the video and just say to your partner, hey, let's practice something together. And I invite you to just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And start by observing, what sensations do I have in my body right now? And if you're doing it in pair, you can really share with each other. You can pause this video. And if you're doing it by yourself, you can pause this video and write to yourself, what sensations do I have now in my body? And sensation is like tension in certain area, heat, cold, electricity, expansion, contraction, weight. There's nothing to do or interpret. Okay, we don't want to interpret it, just to observe my physical sensations right now. And then I want you to take another really deep breath. And make a sound, make some. It's a tool, okay? Breath, sound, and movement are the tools to master energy in your body. So take another deep breath and make a sound. Kat, can you do it with me? Yes. Now, I want you to observe, what are the emotions that I feel right now. Okay, this is a really good practice to do if you are triggered. So take this video, replay this part, just ask yourself, what do I feel? Maybe my thoughts, I have a train of thoughts, I want to resolve everything, or I want to already talk with that person and tell them how much I am right and they are wrong. So stop that and just drop into your emotions. What is the emotion beneath this current situation? That can be loneliness or fear or anger or confusion, and there is nothing you need to do about it. This is the key here. You don't need to resolve your emotion, you just need to listen to them. Just take a moment and observe, what is the emotion that I feel right now? Maybe there are few emotions, so what is the strongest one? And really, if you need, pause this video and write it down for yourself. It's very strong to write down, or share it with your partner who is doing this practice with you. Just one word, don't explain much, just one word: sadness, or insecurity, or happiness. And I want you now to observe, where in your body is this sensation of the emotion? How do you know that you feel sad? There is some information passing in your nervous system that tells you that you are sad or that you are angry. How is it now? Do you feel it like like a hole in your stomach, or a volcano exploding in your chest, or weight on your shoulders, or electricity in your head, whatever it is, just observe it. Like, wow, bring curiosity to your inner communication. Like, okay, I feel this emotion and I perceive it as some image or sensation in my body. And what I want you to do now, whether you have really clarity or just a vague idea of where is it and how does it feel, I really invite you to now go into that space, whether it's a hole in your stomach or a volcano or electricity or a certain color, sensation. Now become a tiny particle of that information, that energy, that image. Just go in, go and just be there. Take a deep breath. Just imagine you are a child entering into a new space you never saw before. Like, wow, interesting. It doesn't matter if it's bright or dark, if it's a narrow cave or an infinite space. What's really important is that you are present there. So just take another deep breath. And be present. There's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go. You're just listening to what there is now. You don't need to change it. Just remember some law of nature, that the nature of emotions is to change. You don't need to do anything for them to change. Emotions are like weather, they always change. Perceive that already. So maybe it's an uncomfortable emotion. Don't try to change it, just listen to it. It will change by itself in its own time. Great, you're feeling angry. Fantastic. Don't react to it and do something about it, but just listening to it inside is great. And you can even say in your inner being, hello, emotion, whatever emotion it was. Hello, jealousy, or hello, stress. Well, nice to meet you. I'm here. I listen to you. I accept you. There is space for you here. Okay? And then just take another deep breath. And just check with yourself again, this strongest emotion you felt in the beginning. How is it now? Is it stronger or weaker? Maybe there's a whole different emotion now. And there is no right or wrong. Maybe it's the same. What's really, really significant is that you are now present and listening to your inner world, to your vibrational body. Our emotional and sexual body are energetic, they are vibrational. When you really listen, you love. Listening is loving. And love creates transformation and harmony. You don't need to do anything. Just listen. And then from that place, I really invite you now to feel into your core. What do I need now? What do I need? I need to rest. I need $1 million. I need a hug. I need to heal my body. And just pay attention. There are needs that are more our thoughts of like, I need to organize better and discipline myself. Okay, this is the adult part of you, the mental part of you, which is valid and important. I want you to really listen deeper to your soul, to your core, to this part of you that's most connected to your core, which is your inner child. What do your inner child need right now? Take a deep breath and write it down or share it with your partner for this practice. And remember something very important. The need of the need is to be heard. It's one of the biggest phrases of my friend and teacher Oren, who created, also founded Quantum Being. The need of the need is to be heard. So if I need a hug right now, not necessarily somebody is available to give me a hug, but just the fact of me saying it, wow, creates a whole different vibration. Now I want you to really write down for yourself, without any expectation for somebody to provide this need. And if you're doing it in a couple, in which I really recommend, so now the first person who is sharing, just share with your partner, what do you need, knowing that your partner has zero obligation to do anything about it. Okay? Just take a moment, and if you will be willing, Kat, just share with me in a short phrase, what do you perceive right now that is your deepest need?
I perceive I need a hug from my dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Great. So just like feel what's the vibration? How does it feel to just say it? And I need a hug from my dad.
Yeah, it's freeing to say it, because I wouldn't normally say it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this transparency and vulnerability demonstrated.
Thank you.
And what I want to invite you who is practicing now, it's a whole world, and I'm really giving you a very advanced practice in a very short time.
You did.
Yeah. So we went through just listening to what is my inner state right now, how are my sensations, emotions, my mental state, and then we dived into it and just vibrated it. And then we started seeing, okay, now what is my need? So if you go to your dad, Kat, just pay attention. There are two patterns in our society. One is demanding. So, Dad, you never hug me, and what kind of dad are you? And I've grown up all my life with a lack, and I try to compensate with all my partners, and fuck you, Dad, you never hug me, and I need you to hug me now. And probably your dad will go into defense mode to just explain himself, and no. So that is demanding. And we do it all the time with our intimate partners. And the other is to really suppress our need, just like never talk about it, never admit it, even within myself, right? Me too. So suppressing or projecting are really two dangerous patterns that we have as humanity. And what I want to invite you now to practice in your life is to share my need. Like, Dad, I really love and appreciate you, and I wanted to share with you something which you don't have to do anything with, but I really, for myself, I want to express it. I really need your hug. It's like, and I really feel how important your hug is, and how much this masculine presence in my life is something that empowers me. And how do you feel about it, Dad? You know, and like, or don't even do anything, but whenever you feel spontaneously, I'm really open to receive a hug from you. So that really puts the other in a place of like, wow, thank you for sharing your needs. And I would like even to hug you, but it's not really authentic right now. So, okay, but I heard you. And in an authentic, spontaneous moment, maybe we'll even hug. Right? So bringing that to our communication and relationship is a huge key. And whenever you are in a tensed communication, I really invite you to stop and ask the other. Let's pause for a moment, and I just want to ask you, feel there's a tension here. I really want to go further in this communication. I want to ask you, what do you really need? What do you need? And check it out, share with me, how did that work? That's a life-changing practice, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And another thing that we've done now, and I just want to point it out, and we teach it in quantum being, is we listened to our emotions. Yeah. So sharing what I need and listening to what there is inside are two missing pieces in most self-development and empowerment practices that I found. Because it's important to set our mind and our goals and our habits. It's really important that there's numerous people who teach it amazingly. And at the same time, it is not contradictional to also listen to my emotions. Many times in the name of spiritual evolution or success and goals, we suppress our emotions. Just pretend it's not there. And emotions are energy in motion, right? It's emotion. So it needs to flow. Whenever I suppress it, it blocks. And when energy is blocked, there is disease and pain. Okay? All healing techniques are based in like create flow of energy. When there is movement, there is a dynamic balance and health and pleasure, right? And the other technique that we have in order to not feel is to blame others and project. You did like that, and you're saying, and you're rude, and and eventually what I'm saying, like, I want you to change because I don't want to feel something, right?
Right.
And our whole human communication is based on that. Like, I can't bear what I feel, so I want you to do something or to change the way you are in order for me not to feel this. So what we've done today is to actually listen to it, not doing anything about it, just listening. And I wanted to ask you, Kat, and you at home, did you perceive any shift in the emotion after listening to it?
Yeah. I did.
Amazing.
It kind of dissolved, or kind of just got more spacious. You know, there was just more space and more, it wasn't heavy like after the practice. Very good.
Amazing. So you did nothing and something changed.
Yeah.
Right? Just listened. We didn't do anything.
It's magical.
And this is the essence of quantum being, which I will be really happy to share with you in any way possible. I feel it's really the key it's an important key for our evolution. There are many keys. That is a really missing one in all our society, in all our alternative and new age and self-empowerment practices. We miss this bit. Emotions are important.
Yeah.
And even there are people who talk about it, but how to do it, how to feel. So quantum being is really re-teaching, re-educating ourselves how to feel emotions in a healthy way. Because the master acts, the disciple reacts. And most of the time, we just react to our emotions. And after listening to our emotions, we can make a choice. Okay, I've listened to my anger, I let this volcano explode inside me, or I listened to my sadness and I really dived into this pit, because sadness creates so many amazing art. Sadness is the same energetical movement as contemplation. It's going inside. It's meditation.
Yeah.
When we really allow ourselves to be sad without mindfuck, without like thinking about it and I'm getting into, oh, I'm so sad, oh my God, oh, life is so bad, I want to kill myself. No, that's thoughts. This is not feelings. These are thoughts. So pay attention to the difference between feeling your emotions or thinking about your emotions. And just take that from our talk today. I did my job.
It's
so
beautiful.
There's so much more, Kat. Thank you for
we've gone quite long, but it's great. Like I was gonna ask you your 3 top emotional health keys, but I think you've already said them. So you said to feel and acknowledge our emotions.
Listen to your emotions.
Listen.
Yeah. So listen to your emotions without doing anything, but really dive into it and feel it. That's the first key. Second key is communicate about it. Share without blaming and without demanding. Say what you feel. And the third is, out of that place, make a conscious adult choice. Okay, I can do something about it or not, but it's not a reaction. This is a choice. It is an action.
Right.
Okay, so these are my 3 points that I really want to share with you today. And some 3 keys to do that in a healthy way is pay attention to the difference between thoughts about your emotions or feeling your emotions. Okay, so just remember that and pay attention to this. The moment you start thinking about your emotions, go back and feel. We tend to live from here up. Here is all my consciousness, but let's embody ourselves. We chose to incarnate in a body, so let's bring consciousness into the heart and into the sexuality, which we didn't even go into today, but it's all connected and related. Okay, and so thoughts and emotions, so thinking about or feeling our emotions is really important. The second thing is that the nature of emotions is to change. So if you have fear to feel a pain, just remember it will pass. And what you resist persists. So if you avoid it, it will just stay there waiting for you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. You've given us so much value, and we've gone very deep on this interview, which has been awesome. But I'm going to wrap it up now. I just want to share for our audience. You are offering a free gift. So I believe it is all about how to best resolve the emotional process with yourself. So could you tell the audience a bit about that and why to go and take a look at that?
Great. So a very simple practice that I believe will change your life and can change the world is what I've said. Like, okay, Ron, you're saying feel my emotions, but how do I do that? All my life I've been trained not to feel. When I'm angry, be quiet. When I'm happy, be quiet. When I'm sad, go to your room. Come back when you're happy. No, swallow your sadness. And so how to go back and feel in a healthy and in an adult way. So my practice would be a training for you that you can replay anytime that you are emotionally triggered, right? You're embarrassed, or you're afraid, or you're stressed, or you're humiliated, or you're angry, you want to kill somebody, or just irritated, or whatever it is. When you perceive you're emotionally triggered, take this video, play it on, and I will guide you through a process of listening and feeling your emotions. It's really simple. After a few times, you don't need the video anymore. You just get it yourself. I feel it's the most valuable tool I can share with you. And this is basically the essence of all my work. And there are so many tiny nuance to it, so you can dive into this practice for infinity and discover more and more layers and connect deeper and deeper to your core. And so I want to share with you that the 5-step of quantic listening, a part of our quantum being teachings. And there'll be a link here. You just press there. It's free for you. You can watch it anytime you want. And I hope to keep on interacting, getting to know each other more, creating intimacy. And remember that for me, everything we do here is about creating a new culture, a new culture of self-responsibility, integrity, health in all levels. And I want to thank you, Kat, for doing such a big project and movement of calling more and more people into this culture, which we co-create together. There is no doctrine here or ideology. It's just about us becoming more human and more masterful in ourselves, in our spirituality, and in our life.
It's beautiful. I'm so glad you joined us today, and definitely we only touched on some things, so I would love, of course, for you to come back. We're going to do more summits in the future, so for the sexuality part, guys, we're going to have Ron again, so don't worry. And yeah,
sexuality is like taking all that and increasing 100 times in intensity. And when you
okay.
It's like we're driving here 50 miles per hour, right? So you need to pay attention when you drive 50 miles per hour. But working with sexuality, you drive 200 miles for an hour. And then you need to be super sharp, attentive, and even 1 millimeter of an error causes pain and trauma. And so we really want to drive 200 kilometers per hour because it's powerful, it's alive, it's vital, it's energetical, it's everything. And we need to be super attentive and present. And this is the best field I found to really practice mastery, self-mastery through the sexual practices. So
okay. All right, so that's for next time, guys. We leave you hanging on that. But you come back tomorrow. We're going to have another awesome speaker for you. So keep listening. We're going to have our live event on the 5th of April. For those of you who haven't signed up yet, please do so. You're going to get more clarity if you are working on your health, if you come to this event. And Ron, thank you again. And we will see you soon. Namaste.
Thank you, and thank you for all the other speakers in this summit. I'm so honored to be amongst you and to share and learn and practice together. Thank you, Kat.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you.